Okay, all right. So here's the build that we got that we're talking about. I'm gonna have to make a video on this in order to. This is how. I'll tell you what the base is, but you guys can run it any way that you guys want it. Here, let me get the sun out of my eyes here, or do it this way. All right. So the whole idea of this build is to be a skill build. At the core of it is a skill build. Okay. Um, this is what we have. The capacitor is going to be our main damage dealer. The capacitor, of course, is, in case you guys don't know, it gives you two different buffs. Capacitance will give you a skill damage buff in which you have to build up stacks. 40 stacks, 1.5% skill damage per stack, that's 60% at 40 stacks. The thing is that they don't decay like they decay with like striker build or a heartbreaker build. You know how you start losing stacks like super fast? With capacitance, with this, you don't lose stacks until after 5 seconds of not landing any bullets, and you only lose one stack per second. So what that means is that because of that buffer, that 5 second buffer, it makes it very easy to maintain your stacks. Once you get to 40, once you land 40 bullets, you essentially need to land at least one bullet every second in order to maintain your 60% skill damage. So it's really easy to maintain that. And then the other buff that you get, the other buff is separate, is a separate paragraph, and you don't need to build up any stacks for that. That one is weapon damage, 7.5% weapon damage for every skill tier you have. We have a 6 skill tier build. That means that 7.5% per skill tier, that's 45% weapon damage, or essentially 3 red weapon cores, because each weapon core is 15% weapon damage, right? So it's essentially giving you 3 of those red cores on that capacitant, on that capacitor. So for a hybrid skill build or a pure skill build, it's basically best in slot for doing damage. Um, we're gonna pair that with a Memento backpack. Memento backpack and the capacitor, they work really well together because they give you the skill bonuses, but it also gives you hybrid bonuses as well. We also get another roll of weapon damage and one roll of armor damage, and then a skill tier. But then on the talent here, it gives you two different buffs. One that lasts 10 seconds and the other one that lasts 5 minutes. We're going to be looking at the 5 minute one particularly well. Although we can actually run and gun with this kind of build because we have a lot of tankiness versus um, the elites. I'm going to show you this. Take a look at this. We're running around with 72% protection from elites. We'll get back to that one in just a moment, okay? That means that any chungus, any yellow enemy, they do minimal damage in comparison to what they should be doing. It makes it almost where you don't really you don't focus them first. You focus the reds and the purples first, which, funny enough, those are the guys that go down the fastest, right? The elites are the ones that go down the longest and the ones that hit the hardest, right? So it works really well for what we're trying to do, especially for legendaries. So anyway, what I was telling you about Memento was that the 5 minute buff will give you 3 different um, gains. One of them is 30% weapon damage. This is at full stacks, okay? You have to keep on picking up those little trophies that fall when you kill an enemy. After 30 trophies, you're going to be having 30% weapon damage, which is basically 2 more reds, right? Each one of those core attributes is 15%, so that's 2 reds more on top of the 3 reds that the gun was giving you. Do you see how this is coming together now in order to give you bullet damage as well? Anyway, so 30% weapon damage, 30% skill efficiency. Now, a lot of people are still a bit confused as to what is it that efficiency is. Skill efficiency, let's see. I'm going to put that in chat, okay? Efficiency, like that, right? There. This is an explanation of what is skill efficiency, and this is direct from one of those posts from those mods in Ubisoft. or Ubisoft forums, they say that it's a 1-to-1 ratio with skill efficiency, with skill damage, skill haste, skill duration, all the skill bonuses. You see that? So running around with 30% skill efficiency is essentially 30% additional skill damage, 30% skill haste. Do you get my drift? So skill efficiency is quite important. Another way that you can get skill efficiency is with the three piece. What's that? The three piece Empress International. Empress International, the three piece gives you that 10% skill efficiency. This is how I used to run it before, but I removed Empress International and instead I went with this three piece improvised set. And the reason we did that is because even though they don't come with any brand set, they come with a mod slot. Generally speaking, you can never get a mod slot on gloves, knee pads, or holster. But if you do an improvised, you can. And the reason we're doing that is so that we can actually plug in those 12% protection from elites. Or if you have the 13%, then go for it. But we're doing it for the 12%, which is the most common ones to get. So we're stacking up the 12% everywhere that we can. We have 6 spots. We have 6 rows of 12%. That's how we're getting to 72% overall. Protection from elites, the maximum stat that you can have is 80%. So just make sure you don't go over that. Anyway, so the main stats that we have for the minor attributes, we're going for skill haste. Skill damage is number 1 because this is a skill build after all, right? So skill damage for the skill damage from your turret and your drone, which are the base skills that you want to go for, to deal the majority of your damage. But then this is where you can make it your own, okay? You can either go with armor regen everywhere instead of skill haste. So skill damage primary, armor regen secondary, and you can do that armor regen everywhere. This is how I originally had it. However, the problem is that do you see how I have a 16% cooldown on this thing? With with everything at armor regen and removing all of the, I have 16 and 17. If I make everything armor regen, then my cooldowns go all the way up to like in the 22-second area. And 22 seconds waiting for, being that your skills are your primary source of damage, waiting 22 seconds feels like a freaking, like it seems like you're waiting forever. So I decided to go with some skill haste. And I started to add skill haste until I started to see diminishing returns. And 3 rolls of skill haste seems to be, for me, the sweet point for this. So I have skill haste on the chest piece, on the gloves, and here on the holster, which, by the way, I need to level up the skill haste on this. I'll go to the, I should have enough materials now to god roll that one. So with 3 rolls of skill haste and everything else into armor regen. It's up to you. We also do have 1 piece of bellstone for that 1% armor regen. So at the 1% from bellstone plus a 3%, oh, that's the other thing that Memento is giving you. The last thing that I forgot to tell you is that it also gives you 0.1% armor regen. At full stacks, that translates to 3%. So the 3% from the backpack plus the 1% from bellstone, that's 4%. That equals to roughly, see, right now I have no stacks anymore. So it says that I'm at almost 21,000 armor regen. Once we have the backpack activate with the 4% additional, it puts us right around the 53,000 armor per second regen. And that really does add up. It really is noticeable. Where you can actually just walk up to a Chungus and just be when any other build that you had before, it will be melting you. All of a sudden you can just walk up to it and just face tank. That is just such a good feeling. To be able to face tank so many things that used to one-shot you before. Like for example, here in the legendary missions, one of the things that used to kill us all the time or at least me, was those the drone operators. Those elite drone operators, those things fly so fast, and they come with those little drones, and they blow up in your face. And now it's just more of a nuisance. It just breaks you out of cover, and you just go back into cover, and then you use business as usual. And before, those things, the one will come in and just break all of your armor and most of your health. And then the other one will come in and will just finish you off. And that's it. GG. Back back to the start. But we don't have to worry about that anymore. So that's the build. Oh, right. The last thing is the chess piece. The chess piece we're running is Wyvern, and we're running kinetic momentum. I think that it will be the second best behind Glass Cannon in Warfare's to overall damage that you can actually do, because Glass Cannon will give you that 25% skill damage, but it's all damage. So it's your bullets get that 25% bonus, and your skills get that bonus. With Kinetic Momentum, only your skills get that bonus, but you get 30% instead. And the way that it works is that you need to be in combat first. And once you're in combat, then you start, after 15 seconds, you build up 15% skill damage per skill that is not on cooldown or that is out active. So it 15 seconds, both of your skills get the 30%. And as long as they're active, you have that 30%. As soon as one of them gets melted and destroyed, then you lose that 15, you lose 15%. Then you have to wait until that skill becomes available again. And this is why my skill haze is so important. Because the faster that your skill come back, the faster you start doing damage, but also the faster that kinetic momentum will be back and running again. Perfect Glass Cannon is so much damage, yes. We're missing out on all that bullet damage, but on this particular build, especially that you're tanking so much, it for me it's a no-brainer that that's the way that I have to go. So that's the build. Maybe I just clip this from and upload it to YouTube.